It looks like, I can't tell, over 50 people here. But I did want to do a meeting because I actually helped out at the front desk yesterday, so there were lots of questions, and I wanted to see, or just have a conversation to see if you had any lingering questions or any things that I could help you with as we welcome you back to school for 2021-22. So I'll go ahead, and I have a few things in the PowerPoint I'll share with you, and then I'll leave some time at the end for you to, and since we're such a small group, we'll let you unmute and you can ask your questions. So before I get started, I'm going to have Miss Rosie to come on and introduce herself as well.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Rosy Guerrero, and I'm the school secretary. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Rosy, soy la secretaria de la escuela. Y por favor, ustedes necesitan traducción. Nos podrían decir en este momento. Eso va a ser grabado, así que va a estar una copia, al igual va a estar traducido en español. So, si necesitan o tienen más preguntas, pueden llamarme directamente al número de la escuela y yo con mucho gusto contesto sus preguntas. Okay, I see there's no translation needed. It was good seeing you all. Nice meeting you all. See you on Monday.
Thank you, Ms. Rosie. Okay, thank you, Ms. Rosie. So I will go ahead and start with the PowerPoint. So we'll go over arrival and dismissal, student and staff safety, breakfast and lunch, visitors, school supplies, uniforms, before and after school care, and then again, I'll leave time at the end for questions and answers. Okay, so here, the one change we have is that all of our early childhood students will use UPON as Carpool. So that was something new we started last year to follow our COVID procedures that we want to keep. Okay.
So there's a bunch of people outside.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to pause for just a minute. It seems like some parents are having trouble getting in. Let's see if I can help with that. Let's see here. Just hang on first, just a second. Okay, I just gave access to our PTO board members. If you could assist with making sure we get all the parents in from the lobby, and I'll pause just a minute to make sure we have everyone with us.
Hello.
Miss Salvador?
Okay. Yes.
Hi. Hi. I have a quick question.
Yes.
The class tag, the link that you sent for the Microsoft Teams, when I click on that through class tag, I get an error. Is it because our students have moved to another level, another grade level? Could that possibly be the challenge that I'm having?
No, it could be. I copied it from the email, and I may need to update the link.
The link in the PDF works, Principal Salvador. This is Mary. The PDF that is attached to that class tag message, that link in there works. Stefano figured that part out.
Okay. Yes. If I copy School Messenger, then it tries to download like School Messenger. I learned that last year, but I guess I'm a little rusty with class tags since we're just starting back up. So thank you, Mary. She said if you click on the attachment in class tag, it will open.
I can't get into class tag, but the email that you sent me, when I click on that PDF, it just takes me to try to log into class tag. Is it possible to send the message outside of class tag?
Yes, it was also sent in School Messenger. Did you not get the School Messenger?
Okay, let me check that.
That would have went to your whatever email you have set up with us.
School Messenger.
Principal Salvador, in School Messenger, it's a little bit difficult because same thing will happen if you click on the click here to join meeting, where you may get the error message, but at the bottom it says pop in with the principal invite. That brings you to the PDF where the link works. So for some reason, the PDF in both places, both class tag and School Messenger is the correct link, but the one that just automatically populated in your message body didn't. So
okay. I'll remember that for next time.
Yeah, they can get there from both places, just a little bit convoluted, but yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad we're recording. So anyone who can't pop in right now can pop in later and watch the recording. So I'll make sure I make those notes for next time. So I'll go ahead and I'll keep moving us on. And if I need to repeat the session later, I can. So arrival and dismissal, what will be different is UPON is only for early childhood now. Early childhood carpool, early childhood walkers. Walkers of any level can enter on either UPON or Windsor, but the carpool is specifically for early childhood students. So again, we tried that last year. It worked really well, but we know that we'll have more students back. So we're not sure how that will work with the traffic flow. So we are trying to minimize the number of cars we have on that side. So we're doing early childhood arrival and dismissal on UPON. On Windsor is the carpool for lower L, upper L, and middle school. And again, if your child is a walker, depending on where you're walking from in the neighborhood, you can either walk in from UPON or you can walk in from Windsor. And because we are such a small group, I usually save the questions and answers to the end, but I do see a raised hand, so I'll go ahead and address whatever the question may be. I think that's
I don't really know about Windsor.
So Windsor is the part of the school where the gym is. So that's where we had our ice cream social. If you were at ice cream social, it's on that side of the building.
Oh, okay.
UPON is the historical or the old wing of the building. So that's how you can tell the difference. Great question. Thank you, young lady. Next, Indiana is for bus riders. So we do ask parents that are EC parents to not use Indiana for drop off. You'll use Welch. Buses will be coming in and out of Indiana, so we need to keep the bus lane clear. So we ask for you to line up on Welch Street, and you can see that there in the diagram. Okay, and I'll move on to the next slide. So that's arrival and dismissal. So again, early childhood, carpool, and walkers enter from the front. Windsor is for lower L, upper L middle school, and again, walkers, depending on where you come in from the neighborhood, you can use either entrance.
Principal Salvador, this is Miles. Could I ask a quick question on that subject?
Yes, you can.
If because I know we got this a lot last year, but if a parent has a child in early childhood and upper L or lower L, then is it sort of at their discretion, or which one do they have to decide? Or, I mean,
yes,
assuming they don't have to do 2 separate drop-offs, but I guess what do they have to do?
It depends on if you have an early childhood student, then use UPON. If you have, if all your students
if you have siblings, if you have two,
yes, so yes. So if any of the siblings are early childhood, then let's go with UPON, because we'll let all the kids get out on UPON. If you have the EC sibling, and all the other siblings will allow to get off on this side as well. We just want to make sure all the EC students exit on UPON or come in. They come in and they exit on UPON, actually. Does that make sense, Miles?
Yep, that makes sense. That works.
Okay. All right. So procedures for arrival and dismissal on UPON. So again, this is early childhood. So if your student is pre-K 3, pre-K 4, or kinder. Again, if your child is able to get in and out of the car seat without assistance, you may use the UPON carpool lane. Otherwise, in order to keep the car lane moving quickly, we would ask for you to park and then walk your child to the UPON entrance. Again, parents, we have the signage already up. Parents will stay behind the marked areas to allow for social distancing in both the AM and the PM. All EC parents must bring their dismissal tag at the end of the day, whether you are a walker or if you are UPON carpool lane. So the early childhood, let's make sure I can get it right with my background here. Yay, I did it, I think, maybe. Okay, looks like this. Is a cute little car. It has your teacher's name, and then it will have your child's name there. Whether your child is a walker or a car rider, this year we're dismissing. It's easier for us to look up and see your child's name on this rather than us having to go down the line that we found out last year and ask for each individual child's name. So this is for EC only. So if you're pulling up in your car, you'll display this so we'll know who your student is, who the teacher is. If you're walking up to pick up from the EC benches from the gate, then you would show this as well. And that's how we know which student you're there to pick up. So that'll help us speed up, especially on those rainy day dismissals. So all EC parents, if you didn't pick this up at Ice Cream Social from your teacher, you will pick it up. Your teacher will send it home on the first day. And I see that there's possibly 2 questions. I saw one question pop up. That question was, will parents still be able to walk in? Because of all of our new guidelines around COVID, we are only allowing on the first day of school EC parents to walk in. We'll do a staggered entry. So we'll allow 5 or 6 families in, and then we have 5 or 6 come out, just like they do us at how they used to do us at Walmart, and then we'll escort that family, those 5 or 6 out, and then we'll have another set of parents to come in. So we want to do that on the first day because we do need your help in making sure we get the students to the correct place on the first day. And then I'll stop there because I see there are questions while we're on this slide. Stefano, if you want to help me monitor the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, there's a couple of questions about the pickup tags. Basically, are they going to go home with students on the first day of school? And if parents still need to pick up their car tag, is there a preferred time to go pick them up at the office?
So we do have the new parent orientation tomorrow. So if you happen to be out, we'll be here tomorrow from 9 to 1 if you want to pick up the tag. If not, it'll go home on the first day of school. And of course, the dismissal tag for lower elementary through middle school, of course, we change the colors each year. So you have to have the new color for this year. And again, you did that form, or either you can request it from the front office as well.
And there was one other hand raised from the person who asked a question earlier. If you still have another question, go ahead and unmute. If not, go ahead and click the lower hand, please.
Yeah. So can we still send them in virtual?
So I'm not sure what your question is. Are you asking if you can fill out the form online for the car tags?
No, like what if you want them to stay home? Are you still gonna receive that, or?
So I'll address the virtual options at the end of the presentation. So I'll come back to that question.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I saw some other hands go up.
Can we use the tag? I know you said you changed colors, but in the interim, until we get the new tag, will the numbers stay the same?
For the most part, Ms. Veronica tried to keep your number from last year. So if we recognize you, we will allow you to use the same tag from last year until you have a new tag.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Mimi. One more question on dismissal. If our child is staying after school for the Little Heroes program on campus, is the dismissal still the same, or is that different?
The dismissal is still the same time, and Little Heroes does the pickup directly from the classroom. So Little Heroes picks up and takes the students to the from their classroom to the cafeteria prior to we start our general dismissal.
One other question or point, Principal Salvador, just because we're talking about first day of school arrival, and I received a question offline here about the boohoo woohoo breakfast that PTO is doing. So that's still going to happen, but it's going to be, as far as the plan is right now, it's going to be outside by the EC benches. So parents who want to attend that won't be in the classrooms. It won't be inside. It'll be an outside distance and masked event. So.
Correct. Thank you for mentioning the boohoo woohoo. I'll make sure I put that in the updates on Sunday to remind parents. So for all of our new parents, PTO sponsors what we call the boohoo woohoo breakfast, because either you boohooing because you're sad that your child is coming to school, especially if they're coming for the first time as a pre-K or a kinder, or either you're like me, woohoo, they're out of my house, stop eating up all my food and go back to school. So you're in one of those categories. So it is a time for you to be able to meet other parents. We'll still make sure we're social distancing, and that's why we want to have it outside. Outside, of course, masks are not required, but of course we still recommend the mask if you're not eating or drinking. And that is as soon as you drop off for dismissal. So we'll make sure once we have the kids safely inside that you'll have access to that gate again, so you don't have to travel inside the school. Thank you, Stefano. I'm glad you're here. Okay, I see someone else said definitely woohoo. Okay, I'll keep moving through the PowerPoint and see if there are any other questions. I think we went over all of this. As with arrival and dismissal at the beginning of every school year, just remember to be patient, show some grace and courtesy with our staff members. Things are going to take us a little bit longer, especially since we have our COVID protocols in place. But we promise you we'll get the students into their classroom safely, and we will return them to you safely as well at the end of the day. We are, again, just like we did last year, encouraging families to assign one person who is not high risk to consistently be the pickup and drop off person for their student. I know that's not always possible, but if you can make that arrangement, we highly encourage that. In the afternoon, again, walkers will be dismissed to UPON. So all the walkers in the afternoon go to UPON. Any student that exits to Windsor needs the car tag. So whether you're a walk up and you want to walk up to Windsor and take them with you, or if you are riding your bike or your scooter over, or you're driving in a car in the carpool lane, you need the tag for Windsor. So again, you need this tag for Windsor. I have to get it just right. Okay. And then you need the cute little car tag for early childhood. All right, that's that. So this year we will open the doors at 8 o'clock for all students. We will have staff on duty to check temperatures. Our wellness team will be at both UPenn and Windsor to check in students. Teachers do not arrive until 8:15, so coach will be here too. And this is a tradition here at Baker. For those of you who are new or may not know of this, if your child is just moving up to first grade, the first grade through 8th grade students from 8 until 8:20, the students walk the track. It's great because it's great exercise. They get their blood pumping first thing in the morning. They get to socialize. So it's a great way to start the day. And of course, because it's outside, it's a safe activity. So that's for our 1st through 8th grade students that arrive before 8:20. EC students will go directly to their classroom. We'll have helpers out front to lead EC students directly to their classroom because our full-time co-teachers arrive and are on duty at 8 o'clock. So that's the only level that will go directly to their classroom. So pre-K3, pre-K4, and 5-year-olds go directly to class. 1st through 8th, if they arrive before 8:20, then they go to the track to walk with coach. Again, especially if this is your first year with your student in school, make sure to speed up the process. Please say your goodbyes. Gather up all their items that they need, make sure they have everything that they need, and have them ready for the temperature check. One of the things that we found out last year is just to make sure that you've turned off the AC, turned off the heater so it does not interfere with the temperature reading. So again, arrival for EC is 8 to 8:30 on UPenn. Arrival for lower L, upper L, and middle school is 8 to 8:30 on Windsor. Again, arrival for walkers. Walkers can enter either on UPenn or Windsor, and that is 8 until 8:30. And then I will stop to see if there are any questions about the arrival times. Again, we're still doing the temperature checks. I know the district does not require us to do the older students, but here at Baker, we're going to do all of our students pre-K through 8th grade as an extra precaution. And I'll see if there are any questions. Does not look like there are any. There's applause. Thank you. Dismissal. Again, the teachers really gave great feedback on the way we did dismissal last year as a COVID protocol, and they wanted to continue it this year. So we will begin preparing for dismissal around 3:45. Because we do stagger what takes place inside, we are asking all parents, if you are picking up early, to be inside the door by 3:30, because we need to, everyone, it's all hands on deck. Everyone has a afternoon duty, everyone has a morning duty, so no one's there in the office to assist you in picking up your child. So just remember, this year, the time is to be inside the door by 3:30 if you are picking up early. Parents should pick up students in the same area where the student was dropped off. Again, except walkers. Walkers always exit in the afternoon on UPenn. Walk up parents on Windsor will have a designated area to line up and will maintain social distancing as they wait to pick up their children. So again, if you're a returning parent, that worked really well. You just stand there with your tags 6 feet apart, and then you wait for someone to take your number, and then again, we find your child and we send them out to you. Because we now end at 4, we are asking all parents to pick up no later than 4:15. All right. And I will continue on. Breakfast and lunch. Our cafeteria staff will continue to provide. We have free breakfast and free lunch program again this year. For breakfast, it is individually wrapped breakfast, and it is delivered to the classroom. So students, once they arrive, the breakfast is delivered directly to them, and they are able to have breakfast in the classroom with the teacher and their peers. Students are allowed to bring their own lunches, but again, we do have free lunch again this year. We'll have breakfast in the classroom, but we are going to have lunch in the cafeteria this year, which is different. Last year we had lunch in the classroom, which kind of limited some of the choices that the students could have. So we are excited about being able to be back into the cafeteria. We've made arrangements to, as much as possible, arrange the table so that they're 3 feet apart. Of course, the kids are wearing their mask unless they are actively eating or drinking. And at this time, we are not allowing visitors in for lunch. I know usually parents like to come and see your children, and we do love when you do that. But of course, at this time, until we're in a better place with COVID and the variant, we are not allowing lunch visitors. So I see a question about the new pickup time is 4. Yes. So we are on a pre-K 8 schedule. So they added 10 additional minutes to our day. So we are officially 8 until 4. So breakfast usually ends, and you won't be able to miss breakfast because the students, as they come in, they just grab breakfast from the cart, and tardy time is 8:30. So usually students are not coming into the building until 8:15, 8:20. So usually breakfast is still going on by tardy time at 8:30. Usually a lot of the teachers build it into practical life. And so the students are able to start their work cycle and have their breakfast out if they choose. Again, we do try to keep the classrooms together. Of course, we'll have more kids this year, but we try to keep the classrooms together. So again, we look at it as a family. When we're in the classroom, we're wearing our mask again, unless we are actively eating or drinking. All right.
There's a couple of questions around masks during.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say there's a couple of questions about masks during breakfast. So yeah, it sounds like that students will be considered tardy if they're in after 8:30 if they're trying to miss the breakfast time. That is to say, if your child has had breakfast beforehand, that they can keep their mask on, right? I'm assuming that's an option that parents can take to mitigate some risk there, I guess.
Yes, that would be the option there.
And then another question on pickup time, is it staggered dismissal or is it all at once? It says
this year we are going to, the only grade level that's going to be out a little bit earlier is we start the EC students around 3:50. And of course, because it takes us a little bit longer to get them out, and we like to get them out safely before we dismiss the walkers. But EC is the only group that starts a little bit earlier. So it's 3:50 for EC, and then all the other levels will start right at 4 o'clock. Ms. Hicks, you can email me. Did I miss any, Stefano? Were there others, or were they similar?
No, there are a couple of questions around virtual school and around issues with losing magnet status if people are sent home because of COVID quarantine. But,
okay.
But I think you're going to cover that later.
Yes,
so
I'll do that. I think that's my very last bullet. All right. So, okay, this is a new slide. So again, student and staff safety. Our regular program will resume with some safety precautions in place. So we will resume face-to-face ancillary. If you remember last year, I think maybe Baker may have been the only campus I know of that actually continued to do ancillary as a virtual activity. And that was one of my decisions that I made of not having the ancillary teacher travel from pod to pod, but to just do that virtually. But this year we are going to allow students to travel to ancillary. We have modified our master schedule so that there's a 5-minute window between each class, so that we do not have more than one class in the hallway at a time. We're also asking teachers to prepare a little bit earlier for ancillary than what their schedule says, because we want them to take students to the restroom to either wash their hands or to sanitize prior to going to ancillary. And also the same thing for recess. And then the same thing when they pick them up, we're sanitizing or washing hands again before going back to the classroom. All student, staff, and essential visitors will be screened and required to wear the mask. So we do the COVID screening questions for all adults, and we do take temperatures on all adults that are on the approved visitor list. If students arrive without mask or visitors arrive without mask, we have masks available daily if they need it. Mask breaks will still be provided, so we've allowed teachers to build that time into their schedules so that students can go outside, get fresh air, be able to take the mask off. And again, last year, the hand sanitizer stations and we're putting the signage back in that's appropriate to what we have now, but the hand sanitizer stations are still up, and we are putting up the new social distancing signage that we received from the district. And I'm going to stop again because I think I see some questions popping up.
Yeah, one more from Ms. Jones related to dismissal, where if they're dismissing multiple grade levels, is it the same plan as arrival for multiple grade levels? Do they go with the lower class level or grade level, or?
If you have an EC student, I would follow the routine for the EC student, because that's the easiest part to do, because we can get the older students down to the EC student for dismissal. So 350 for EC. Yes, Ms. Jones, that's what I would follow. And then I see the question, what if I do not want my child to eat in the cafeteria seated less than 6 feet apart? Can they stay in the classroom? There is no coverage in the classroom. All of the co-teachers cover lunch, so that the teachers, by law, we have to give them a 30-minute duty-free lunch. So it would not be possible for them to stay in the classroom. And I think I see a raised hand. I don't see any other questions I think I missed.
Yes. So I think one of the concerns that I share with the parent is that cafeteria. You know, being in the cafeteria, that's basically where the kids are seated next to each other, and then they have to take their mask off. So I was just curious, you know, what was the protocol for lunch, because they're going to be in the cafeteria? How spread out? What does that look like?
Well, because of our scheduling, we are not able to have a schedule where we can just have maybe 1 or 2 classes in at a time. It would probably take us we would probably have to start at 10 o'clock and go until 4 to make that happen. But what we have looked at is in the master schedule, we've limited the number of classes there. And we've also positioned the tables a little bit differently. We also have built the rosters so that there is the possibility of being able to space the students out. Of course, it will not be the 6 feet apart, but we are working to do, and if you know our cafeteria tables, they're the circular seats, trying to do either every other or every other across from, to make sure we can meet that criteria and to be a little safer, especially while they are eating without their mask. Okay, I see another question about the social distancing. Again, we have the partition still in the classroom, the plexiglass for tables when the teachers are meeting with groups of 3 or more. We do have that still in place. Otherwise, we are lucky and fortunate enough here at Baker to have unique spaces where our kids can meet and not be in the classroom. So I think that helps us to keep at least the 2 to 3 feet. I know for sure it won't be the 6 feet just because of the size of our classrooms and the number of students that it looks like we'll have coming back. But again, teachers do have that flexibility to use the outside space outside their classrooms to be able to have a little more space to spread their students out. I see Ms. Wilson's question. Ms. Wilson, it actually depends on, her question is, can classes elect to eat lunch outside? It actually depends on who's covering the lunch. We have full-time co-teachers that are here with us all day, but then we have part-time co-teachers that are only here until maybe 11:30 or 12. So it depends on who's watching the class, if they're able to eat lunch outside. If they're with a part-time co-teacher, it could be that they're in the cafeteria with 1 or 2 monitors, and we only have 1 or 2 monitors for the 6 classes, so they wouldn't be able to eat outside. But yes, if teachers chose to eat outside with their classrooms, of course, they're free to do that.
There was a kind of a similar question, I guess, dovetailing on your point about coverage, where a parent was volunteering, offering to volunteer to monitor lunches if they're outside. I know that we're limiting, like severely limiting the amount of access for volunteers in the school, but for visitors, but outside of the classroom, could that be a case-by-case possibility?
It could, yes. Like I said, we just don't have the manpower to be able to take all the classes out at once. So
yeah, so for that,
there could be 6 classes and just 3 teachers or 3 co-teachers in the cafeteria. And we like when we do anything outside, we like 1 adult per class. Well,
yeah,
one
I was going to say to that parent and any other parents that are interested in doing that, the best thing is probably to reach out to your teacher and figure out a way to set up a schedule if some parents want to, you know, rotate or something.
Yes, I'm sure the teachers will be happy to work with you on that. If someone said sign them up, write their name down. So someone asked, why can't they eat lunch in the classroom this year? In most cases, we'll have double the kids back in the classroom. That's the first issue with making sure we keep clean. And if you know you all do know our Montessori classrooms, not every student has a traditional desk. So in some cases, I just have an issue with students eating on the floor. They need to have a desk or some type of table or something in front of them. So that's just my personal take on that part. But the second issue is that this year, the way that the lunches are being packaged does not allow for us to be able to, because we're going back to the regular full lunch schedule, lunch menu. So it does not allow for us to bag it up like we did last year. And again, we're going back to normal menu. And there's a difference in the menu from pre-K to kinder. So it looks a little bit different. It's not everyone's just grabbing a bag and it's the same thing. So that's the difference from last year to this year.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Principal Salvador, but most of the district is going back to a lot of things as usual. Whereas some of these precautions that you've put in place and the school and Nursana and the school put in place are in addition to what the district is providing. So the fact that the district isn't providing, you know, portable lunches is kind of out of our control, right? I mean, the other things that we're doing are above and beyond.
Yes, but I see someone ask, can, you know, pre-K, all the classes are welcome to eat lunch in the classroom. But again, as principal, legally, I have to make sure all my teachers get a 30-minute duty-free, no children break, and I have to do the same thing for co-teachers. So sometimes it doesn't always work out where there's someone that can sit in the classroom with the students. But if, again, parents are willing to volunteer and come watch the students eat in the classroom and help them to restore and clean up the spaces when they're done, that wouldn't be a problem.
Sorry.
I saw Nurse Anna's hand up.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so please remember families to apply for VIPS status to be able to come on campus and help out. I do believe we're having limited visitation or outside vendors coming in just to decrease any kind of what do you want to say, traffic, to keep us in the best bubble we can provide here at school. but please do sign up for VIPs because you will need that before you're able to come in and volunteer.
Thank you, Nurse Anna.
And for some reason, I'm muted from the chat, so I can't share the link. But if you literally just go into Google and type HISD space VIPS, it'll bring you right to the
Why can't I hear that?
VIPS training. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just telling people how to look up the VIPS. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Ms. Jones. There's the link for it, and it takes 10 minutes to complete the training and everything. And if you've done it last year, you have to do it again this year. So every single year you have to do it.
So again, I hear parents saying, you know, if there was a volunteer, so if we had, you know, it would be very good if we had the same volunteer or, you know, the same consistent volunteers again, because one of Nurse Anna's jobs will be to, you know, track and monitor and make sure we're all staying healthy. So that would help a lot as well. So Ms. Fernandez, yes, the older kids may join the EC student. They'll just come out as walkers and you won't need a tag.
I'm sorry,
looking to make sure there are not any other questions. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I heard this part. I know the children are being served in the cafeteria, but just so parents know, there is as much spacing as possible in the cafeteria as well. So I've seen some of the seating charts and they're trying to leave a chair in between if possible. So we are following all our precautions all the way through the cafeteria as well. I know I've had several conversations and, you know, we're doing the best spacing that we can in the cafeteria.
Yeah, for the most part, like Nurse Anna said, the charts I've seen so far have, there's enough space, like I said, because the classes are a little bit smaller this year. There's a seat in between and then an open seat, a seat in between that's open, the two students, and then a seat across that would be open, every other student, if you can visualize what that will look like. Thank you, Nurse Anna. Nurse Anna has set up from last year her isolation room, again, making sure students that she suspects are that have any COVID-related symptoms are away from the well side. So just like when you go to the doctor's office, there's this, you know, the sick side or the sick clinic, and then there's the well side that they have you to come in. So it's the same concept there. The school nurse will notify parents immediately if your child has been exposed or suspected or confirmed to have been in close contact with a positive COVID student, staff member. Nurse Anna, again, is asking for seating charts in classrooms, seating charts in the cafeteria, and making sure she has all the information that she needs in order to investigate when it's time to do her contact tracing. And then I will stop because I'm sure Nurse Anna has something to add to that slide, and I'll see if she has anything, and we'll see if there are any questions around the protocols.
So one of the things that I need is for parents to let me know if there is any illness in the household. Or if there's been a close contact outside of school hours, so that we can manage that situation as well as possible. When I contact families, please, if your child is vaccinated, if you're an older child, please have the dates available so we can make sure you're past the quarantine time. And just know that when I contact families, and I suspect that they've been a close contact or that the child's ill, please make your way to school as soon as possible. Like Ms. Salvador said, we do have a room it's my office that the children will be waiting for parents, but we're trying to move children in and out as soon as possible so there's no cross-contamination and I have enough time to get in there and clean up. I don't expect it to be you know, very busy, but yes, I need you to pick up as soon as possible. Ms. Flores?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, on the slide, it says, you know, parents should let you know directly if their child might have unfortunately been exposed to someone and is exhibiting symptoms. So,
yes, ma'am.
like, for instance, unfortunately, you know, my kids were recently exposed to a family member who's sick, and they've got a sore throat and they're exhibiting some symptoms. So we're going to have them tested. What
Yes,
do we do? Like, what mechanism do we do to notify you, especially
Call. You
just
can either call me. Yes, you can either call me or email me. I check my email several times a day, but
and then what do we do, like in the case of Monday?
So if you'll call me, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'm still getting some guidelines from HISD, but I do believe the child won't be able to come to school, from what I'm understanding you say, and we will set them up with virtual learning. I just have to find out the steps.
Okay.
So just give me a call.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Nurse Anna.
You're welcome.
I just had one quick comment. I just sent out a reminder for VIPs through the PT board, and then I think Principal Salvador can send one out later through her channels, and it's also on Facebook. But for PTO Facebook, one thing to note though that I was reminded of offline just now is that when you go to sign up, it's still HISD still has us under Wilson Montessori. So if you can't see Baker, that's why. We used to be at the very bottom of the list, and now we're hopefully soon we'll be at the very top of the list. So
it's weird because now I start looking at the top, and then sometimes it's still at the bottom. So yes, that's correct. All right, so I will move on to. I want to save that bullet because I know Nurse Anna has some information. So I'll go back to that bullet where it says virtual learning, because we have.
Can I jump in for just a second? I see a question in the chat.
Go ahead.
And I'm not understanding the question. Does a negative COVID time override the required quarantine time?
Sorry, that was me. That was a typo. It was test.
I'm sorry?
So it's a test. So if we get a note that they were exposed, can they get a negative test and come back to school?
So there's a protocol. There's also a protocol for that. If it's an exposure to COVID, if they're exposed as a close contact, then the child will go from the last day that child was with the close contact. You have to go 5 days after that, get tested at that point. And if you have a negative test, then you return on the 7th day.
Okay, so that would count for close contacts in the school building as well. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much.
Do
you think this would be helpful?
Okay, so I know Nurse Anna went to a training today. Dean Perkins went to a training on our behalf about the virtual learning option. So I'm going to save that for last because I know we have additional information for that. These next few things are simple, easy peasy. So I'll go to those first, and then we'll come back to the virtual learning options. So uniforms, we are going back to uniforms this year. Of course, the superintendent has asked us for a relaxed uniform policy. So if you are having or know of anyone experiencing issues with getting uniforms, we're excited to have a wraparound specialist who can help with that. So if any parents need assistance with the uniforms or know of anyone who would need assistance with uniforms, please let us know. So uniforms, mask will be required again for all students. We are moving to our school colors of blue and gold. So we're trying to phase out the red collar shirt, but if your students still have it, don't worry about it. We're going to continue to wear it throughout this year till they outgrow it. So we have the white as an option, the navy blue, the light blue, the yellow, and then the gold. Again, just moving to our school colors of blue and gold. And again, any of the khaki or blue uniform bottoms are allowed. Jeans are allowed with the spirit shirt is the way it's written in the handbook. But Principal Salvador's take on the uniform is as long as they look neat and appropriate for school. Most of the time I don't pay attention if they have on the jeans or the khakis. So jeans could also be worn with the polo shirt as well. That's the uniform policy. Little Heroes will again be back on campus this year, providing before care and after school care if you need it. I did hear from Ice Cream Social yesterday that there is currently a wait list, but you still can reach out to them if you are interested in possibly getting on the wait list. You may also join in to the extracurricular activities that they offer. Again, Little Heroes follows all of our safety protocols very closely. We meet with them. Nursana is in direct contact with them. They do their temperature check because they open an hour before campus opens. So they do their temperature check prior to the students arriving in the before school program as well. Again, visitors, we are limiting our visitors to just essential visitors, those who have appointments. We are continuing to use Teams for things like ARDS and 504 meetings. Even some parent conferences may be on Teams for the time being. Again, all visitors must wear masks when inside a HISD school or building. Again, we are not allowing lunch visits quite yet. And again, non-essential deliveries such as food, personal items, homework are not allowed this year. So I know in the past, students may have forgotten their lunch kit or forgotten their homework or book bag. Again, because we're trying to limit the number of folks that are coming inside the building, we are asking that they just have lunch in the cafeteria on that day, or they just bring the homework the next day. So I see a question from Ms. Eva. Sadly, right now they said there will not be any field trips. We are still, if there are any middle school parents on this call, we're still trying to, Principal Salvador is begging her boss to see if we can still have our beginning of the year middle school trip, just because the kids travel in that cohort, and as long as parents are comfortable with the students in the cohort attending camp together, they would be in class together. They would travel on the bus together. I'm still looking to get permission for that field trip, but again, Superintendent House has said there will be no field trips until further notice. School supply fees. This is just a reminder that this year the school supply fee is the $50 per student, and that's pre-K through 8th grade. If you were at the Ice Cream Social or if you're on the PT board, they've sent out the information on how you can pay the school supply fee. Again, that fee goes directly to your child's classroom teacher. So a lot of the materials that the students will need, your teachers go ahead and either buy in bulk, or there are things that they gather the materials for or buy the materials for, and then they make on their own. So that's why our supply fee in our Montessori program is a little bit different than most campuses. I see Taylor asked, will dropping off lunch homework be changed at some point? Yes. So we want to get up and going to see how things are going, make sure we have some good protocols in place, and then we will probably look at some of these procedures and protocols. Students can bring their own lunch. Yes.
I wanted to say something real quick on supply fees, just as PTO. So because we have some new parents, and just wanted to make this clear, the school supply fees that PTO collects are not a PTO fundraiser. We are administering the funds for the teachers. So when you pay your supply fee, your school supply fee, that goes to PTO, and then PTO then distributes the funds across all the different teachers and ancillary teachers, classroom teachers and ancillary teachers. So just keep that in mind. Another thing to keep in mind too is that although we did have to raise the price just a little bit, just $5 from last year, in discussing with other schools that do a more traditional shopping list of supplies, school supplies that teachers require, a lot of their price points that each student has to purchase are anywhere from $90 up to $130. So although it's a kind of it's a required $50 fee, it's a very good value. And then second, the last point, I forget what I'm on, but the last point is that the participation is required, and participation can take two forms, well actually three. The first is to pay your supply fee. The second is to pay your supply fee and maybe add a little extra to your donation if you're able to financially, and that'll sponsor somebody else who can't. And the third one is to turn in virtually. There's a form of an exemption. And so if you turn in an exemption or you pay your fee, either way, that we count that as participation. So we'd like to get our participation as close to 100% as we can get, but that doesn't mean that you're required to pay the fee if you have any financial hardship and aren't able to do so.
I have a question about supplies for the classrooms. Are cleaning supplies included in this? I know last year HISD had said they were going to provide extra cleaning supplies. I know I reached out to our teacher last year and said, please let the parents know if you need stuff. But what, are the classrooms going to have like Lysol wipes and hand sanitizer and wipes and all of that stuff?
So the district does provide, I'm looking around because I have different packets in my office, but the district does provide the sanitizing wipes. They provide, thank you, the sanitizing wipes, the cleanitize. I'm having a hard time again getting it in the screen. Okay, there it is. The masks, gloves, but I know that some teachers are very particular about which items they like to use, or they may have kids that are allergic. So I would reach out to the teachers, and if you are able to, outside of the $50 fee, maybe donate specific items, then I'm sure your teachers would appreciate that. Most of the time, the teachers purchase those additional things out of their own monies, and they don't like to use the supply fee for things like that. And then, of course, they use what the district has. But I know some teachers are very specific about the things they like for their classroom.
Yeah, one other point on that, definitely second the thought of reach out to your teacher and find out if they need any additional help if you're able to. One thing that kind of happened a little bit last year was because some of our teachers, because of virtual learning, our teachers used some of their supply fee funds to cover some virtual learning options. And so I know I've heard, anecdotally from several different parents that there was some supplemental in-kind donations made for cleaning supplies, and that was kind of a one-off. I think this year there'd be a lot more availability for that.
Yes, agreed. And then this last slide, again, just follow us on all of our social media. We are trying to, both PTO and the campus, are trying to keep everything updated, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, so that you are aware of the events that are going on. We know we won't have many face-to-face opportunities, so we do want you to get a glimpse inside of campus and what we have going on here while you're away for a while until we are back to normal. And then I know the one big question is the options for the virtual learning. I know Nurse Anna is still here and she went to a meeting this morning. So I know there will be, and Nurse Anna, you can jump in at any time. I know there will be two options for virtual learning. One is for students that have to quarantine because of COVID or the variant. So that option, students are given up to 20 days of virtual learning. What happens is the student is able to learn from home. It's not the Baker teacher that's responsible for the virtual learning. If you've heard the announcement from Superintendent House, There are district administrators. There are different curriculum departments. We have our teacher development specialists that usually coach and come into the buildings. Those are the people, so certified staff member still is just not a Baker staff member. And because it's temporary, that teacher will communicate with the Baker teacher on grades and attendance. But while your student is on the quarantine leave, they would keep their spot at Baker, but they would do the virtual learning through the district. The second option is the medical option. And Nursana, if you could explain that option, I'm sure because you had your meeting this morning, you can articulate that plan a lot better than I can.
So actually there's a meeting Tuesday afternoon that, because this is kind of a late choice, which is a great choice for families that do have children that have a medical need, who are more at risk. So that program, so there's the first program, which is a 20-day limited program for a child that's either tested positive or is in close contact with someone that's tested positive. And that could happen either outside of school or inside of school. And so that would be a referral to, it's called limited temporary online learning. And then the other one is, do you remember the name of it? It's Virtual Academy. And the second one is the one that is for children that are less than 12 years of age and has a medical diagnosis that puts them at risk. We haven't gotten a lot of information about that yet. I do know that it starts August 30th. And I know that today at 6 o'clock, you can look at the HISC website and there'll be more information about this program. Again, I don't know what the diagnoses are. I'm not real sure about the process. That hasn't been communicated to us yet.
If I'm not mistaken, in Superintendent's house, his email, I think he said the link would be available at 6 o'clock. So I'm assuming there may be more information.
I'm hoping there is more information there. I do believe that there's medical documentation needed from a doctor. But once again, I don't know what that looks like yet.
So it's either you're you're not old enough to get the vaccine and you have a medical condition. So it's not and or.
Correct. You have to meet both conditions.
And again, we'll probably receive that information around the same time you do. And what happens is Nursana and I are now best friends. So every night around, what time was it yesterday, Nursana? 6:30. We read the emails and then we both go back and forth to try to figure out what that looks like for Baker. So as soon as we've had time to wrap our minds around it, we will be sure to let you know. Ms. Flores has a question, Nursana. If a child qualifies for the medical exception, oh, it went away. It says, do they come to school while they await a decision? I don't think we know the answer to that yet, correct?
No, I believe that this option starts the 30th.
Okay.
So, but I don't know what that looks like for Monday.
Okay. So if there are any parents on this call that you still have concerns about Monday, just shoot me an email. We'll look at your situation. And then, like I said, as Nursana and I have more guidance this evening, we'll kind of look over everything and see what the best option is for you and be able to provide you a little more guidance around that. But again, right now, we just know the two options that they're offering, the names and, what the difference is between the two, the temporary online learning and the virtual academy. But again, like Nurse Anna said, this is last minute, but we are glad that Superintendent House was able to sit down with his team and come up with an option, at least for the littles and those that are, you know, more fragile with their health conditions. And then I will stop to see if there are any more questions. But if not, that's all I have. If you are a new parent, don't forget we have our parent orientation tomorrow. If you have a EC student, pre-K3, pre-K4, or 5-year-old, you bring them with you. 1st through 8th grade, you do not have to bring the child with you. The orientation is strictly for the parent in the upper grades. And that's 9 to 1, followed by our parent social. It sounds like it's going to be very safe, socially distant, and fun.
And on that point, on the parent social, it's a new parent social, but if any existing parents would like to come as well, that we do that every year as well, so that you can get to know some existing parents as well and feel part of the community. Mr. Toon, do you have a question you'd like to ask? You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, Steph. I got a question for Mr. Sykes. You did say parents with I'm a senior citizen and a high-risk patient. I'm not allowed to pick up my kids?
No, you are able to, as long as, of course, you're masked.
Okay, good. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Mr. Toon. Any other questions or concerns? Again, as we find out more, as usual, I will send out the school messenger. I will send out the class tag. I am going to go in and try to remember how to give the new parents the class tag information. I couldn't remember from last year, but I'll look that up. And we'll also make sure we post on all the social media and put it on the webpage for those who do not have access yet, so we can keep you all up to date. But remember, we're only a phone call away. Tomorrow, someone will be in the office from 9 to 1. Again, Nurse Anna and I will be waiting for that email to come out at 6 o'clock or after 6 and figure out what that looks like for our parents and be able to give you some more guidance on that. But again, hopefully you can tell, again, that working with Nurse Anna, working with health and medical, as much as possible, we're trying to keep a lot of the protocols that we had in place last year. Of course, some of them, because of the number of students coming back, we can't fully implement the 6-foot social distancing, of course, but everything else we are, again, keeping in place, making sure we keep our students safe. We are happy for them to return to campus, and our goal is to keep them and you as safe as possible. And I think I see a couple of more hands.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions, and I think that are regarding virtual school as well. But I think based on what you said, where there's going to be some follow-up needed, Nurse Anna's email should appear in the chat here soon. And I think that's probably the best way is to reach out either by email or call the front desk. And that's for the chat box. There's also a couple of hands raised. So let me call out. The way I see him here, I'm sorry if you didn't raise your hand first, but I see somebody named Taylor, if you want to go first.
Hi, I just had a question regarding, I put it on the question box regarding the hand sanitizer. I don't know if you can see that, and also the link.
I did see that. I'm not sure which hand sanitizer. Nurse Anna may have a better idea of the ones that we are using in the dispensers, but I know we had one sanitizer that we completely got rid of and started using something else. So I know we are checking, and we do have a protocol and procedure for that. I can find out from our plant operator about the ones in the dispenser, but I know the ones that we had, the individuals that we were giving the teachers, we didn't even pass those out to teachers. We replaced them with something else that we thought was better, safer.
Okay, thank you.
But I will check with our plant operator on the ones that, what they're putting in the dispensers, because that I'm not sure of.
Okay, the next person I see in my little order here, his screen name is Nadia.
Hi, yes, I have two questions. The first one is about class sizes on average for fourth, fifth, and sixth graders. What is the class sizes?
Well, this year, actually, the class sizes are down. Usually that would make me sad, but of course this year it does not because there's COVID, right? Usually our class sizes in upper L get up to about 28 or 30. This year we're around 22, 24. Again, the neat thing about the spaces in upper elementary is that they have spaces where they can work outside in the hallway. They have spaces, seating areas outside in an open area. So again, we have many spaces that will accommodate the number of students that we have. So again, like I said, usually I would feel sad that we didn't have full classes, that we had some students leave us to go back to their home campuses. But for this year, it's actually a good thing for us because we're able to, of course, be a little safer with fewer kids.
Thank you. And also, are they using laptops this year? Are you guys giving them out for the upper elementary?
Yes. So all the students, I believe Ms. Brooks is moving all the littles to the tablet. The lower elementary students, I know, will receive the laptop as well as upper elementary students.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can you run down the class average sizes?
So right now, kinder is between 18 and 20. Well, that's EC. So pre-K, 3, 4, and kinder is between 18 and 20. Lower elementary, usually they have about 25, 26. We have those classes down to about 22. I think the biggest class may be 23 or 24 there. So again, like I said, our numbers are a little bit down this year, which would usually panic me as the principal. But again, this year it's all about safety. We'll worry about the funding that we lose later. This year it's all about the safety of the students. And then again, our middle school and upper elementary classes are right at between 22 and 24, which is down from usually 28 to 30.
Okay, the next person I have in order, apologies any mispronunciation, is Tanika Young.
That was my question. I was looking for average class size. Thank you.
Great. All right, and then last but not least, Angela Duenas.
Yes, just quick follow-up question. I don't think I'm getting the school messenger emails. I am getting the class tag notification. I just don't know if it's worthwhile trying to figure out how to sign up for the school messenger emails.
No, I wouldn't worry about the school messenger as long as you get one or the other. The school messenger is updated through our student management system. So all of that will work itself out once we have all the students in a class and all the students are entered in the system by Ms. Sharon. Once she does her magic, then you'll automatically, the school messenger automatically updates from there.
Okay. So if I'm getting the class tag, then I'm covered. I'm not really missing any information at all.
I'm doing it in both places because I know some parents are not fully into the HISD system yet.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking that question.
All right, we got a bonus comment from Mary. Do you want to go ahead?
Okay.
Definitely a question. Can you confirm, Principal Salvador, if they have a device, they don't need to bring it, right? If they need a device, they'll be using a device at school, or should they still bring one if they have one?
For now, we're saying that we should have enough devices to cover all students, but that is if everyone returned their device at the end of last year. But right now, Ms. Brooks is thinking we will be able to cover all of the students' needs during the school day without them having to bring their own personal device.
Is it helpful if we bring our own devices if we can or want to, or should we just leave it and it's fine either way?
You
I guess for
can,
your number.
if it was, especially if it's a device that they're accustomed to using last year, if they use it during virtual learning last year, I know it helps sometimes if the kids are familiar with their device. So if you're comfortable with sending it, then yes, that would be
that would help.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, let's go Nadia, and then I think we'll probably, any other questions after Nadia's, feel free to reach out to the school either by email to Principal Salvador or call the front desk.
Sorry, I forgot about this. This will be my daughter's first year doing Cherryhurst. Where's the meeting spot where the kids walk together, or is that something that Cherryhurst we discussed with them?
No, we already worked it out with Cherryhurst. So we have a staff member that actually walks the kids over because again, Principal Salvador is all about safety. Sometimes it's me, but most of the time we do have a staff member that will walk the students over to cross the street.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, again, I'll leave the chat open to see. Again, I am here today until at least 4:30. There will be someone in the office tomorrow from 9 to 1. And again, as I get updates over the weekend, again, Nurse Anna and I will chat, and we will send you updates as we get them. And thank you all who came to Ice Cream Social last night. I know we were all a little bit nervous, but I think it worked out well. We were able to safely see one another, and anxious about the year, but excited about the year as well. And as long as we work together, I know we'll make decisions to keep our school family safe. So thank you all for joining us. Again, if you need us, you know how to contact us.
One last comment. For those who are looking for the recording, look on the school's website. That's where Principal Salvador posts these. They're not here on Teams.
Yes,
that's
I'll
still
put it on
the same as last year.
Easier way, yes. Okay. All right, and thank you, Mr. Stefano, for helping me with the chat and the questions. Very helpful. Thank you. All right. Otherwise, everyone have a good weekend. If you're coming to new parent orientation, I will see you tomorrow.
You have a good day, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Salvador. I want to applaud you guys.
Thank you. That's appreciated. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.